O comboio Alfa CP Comboios de Portugal, procedente de Lisboa-Santa Apolónia e com destino a Braga, que deverá dar entrada na linha número 1. Circula com um atraso de 5 minutos. A sua hora prevista de chegada é às 16 horas e 15 minutos. Pedimos a vossa compreensão pelos incómodos causados. Dentro de minutos, dará entrada na linha número 1. O comboio.
Nas provas internacionais, a bola está nos pés do miúdo. É o António Silva, o miúdo graúdo. Entregou para lá, encostava lateral, solta no Ramos, está tapado. A bola veio para Chiquinho, dá plostas, vai atirar, espera Grimaldo, está na área, mete por baixo, remate, gol! Existe alguém que marque como estão bonitos como eu, na Liga dos Campeões, Gonçalo Ramos! Benfica, Benfica, Benfica!
Hey everybody, highlight of the day is me and Mello sitting here in somber quietness waiting for Jill to log on, not checking our group chats, not looking at our phones, just quietly sitting here waiting. And there's Joe in the chat, give me the fucking password, let me get this done. Fucking guys, this is worse than the game. The entire apparatus, everything is failing right now, Benfica, including the BA9 password event. So, how you guys doing? You guys feeling okay? Feeling okay? Not good?
I'm all right. I think I'm feeling a little optimistic and not pessimistic. I'm not gonna be the one to,
There we go.
I'm not jumping off any bridges or anything like that. Yeah. I'm upset. I see a lot of we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. I think there's a lot of I think we're placing blame on one player, and I can't imagine that that's what really is going on. But we'll talk about it. We'll get into it. You know what I mean? We'll get into it for sure, and we'll have some disagreements. We'll have some agreements, but we'll try to figure out what's going on.
You know whose fault today was, Mello? You want to know whose fault today was? I'll tell you whose fault it was. That's whose fault it was.
No way. No, we'll get into it. I think we all think. I think it was. Let's get into it. Let's just do it. Let's get into it.
What do you think? Kupo de Kang, Mello. Kupo de Kang.
Let's go. I mean, let's start with the lineup. I think because that's kind of where it starts. I mean, right away, where it starts. I think it's this. We'll just go. I'll just read off the lineup. Between the pipes, we had Vlachodimos. On the back line, we had Gilberto. Already a problem. We had Antonio Silva, Morato, Grimaldo. In the midfield, Florentino Luis and everybody's favorite fallback guy, Chiquinho, João Mario, Rafa Silva, and Arsenis, who's up top with Gonçalo Ramos. So that was the lineup. No surprises, no change.
People don't like Chiquinho. Like, we're getting a lot of, like, you're seeing this kind of.
Let's talk about it. Let's just get into it.
I'm going to say something.
He did get the man of the match both on goal.
He wasn't. If you guys think, I'm going to just say this, I'm going to let you, Joe. If you guys think that today was because of Chiquinho, I don't know. I know you guys have a problem with him, but be realistic. All right. Today, he was one of the better players on the pitch. He was better than Rafa Silva. He was better than João Mario. He was better than Fred. I don't know what you guys were watching. I mean, Florentino Luis is the first defender off the pitch for a reason. He can't make a forward pass to save his fucking life. But I don't understand. Like I said, I'm not gonna get upset, but I just think it's not fair. It's really not fair to put it all on one guy when we're really, in my mind, today it's a matter of Roger getting just complacent. Roger's gotten complacent. That's what the problem is. It's not Chiquinho. It's not just Chiquinho. How about that? It's not just Chiquinho or whatever Chiquinho doesn't do. But Roger's got complacent. He sits on his hands too long. He sat on his hands too long in this match. He sat on his hands too long in the Porto match. He doesn't believe in his bench. He signs 2 guys that we haven't seen. They're not ready. They'll never be ready until next season. Musa's worthless. He comes in with 10 minutes left. I mean, I think to blame the one guy. I mean, I just see it right off the top of the chat. And I get it, guys. I get it. He's not Enzo. But Enzo ain't walking through the door, right? And there's nobody on the team right now in Roger Schmidt's formation that he wants to play, that he's been running, that he's been comfortable with, that's better than Chiquinho right now in that spot. It's just what it is.
I think that's all fair, Mello. I'll speak for myself because I on Twitter was kind of harsh with Chiquinho, but that was just misguided, to be honest.
It's just misguided. That's what I'm saying.
But when you look at it, I think that for a lot of people, he's the fall guy. You said it perfectly, because ultimately that it's not about Chiquinho being the worst player in the team. In my opinion, I think what most people are saying is, look, they like Fred in the midfield better than Chiquinho. And not only do they like Fred better, it comes down to they wanted David Neres to be starting today. All of us did. And so,
right, Joe,
so when we look at this lineup,
tell me a game. You guys show me a game where Fred started in the midfield that he was good. How about that? We've tried Fred in the midfield. He doesn't. Show me the game. Tell me the game. I just don't remember.
I will look back.
He's
back
had so many.
Games.
He has so many good. What I'm saying, he's had so many good matches on the wing where he's been playing. You know what I mean? That's where he's been. We've been winning. We hit a rough spot, and now all of a sudden it's Fred. We complained about not having wingers a long time ago, and then we got proven wrong. We were proven wrong time and time again that it could work.
Let me add in. I think one challenge, and you see this comment about comments about the lack of subs. A lot of people said, I'm just picking on Zach for a second, right? I do believe Roger was doing more substitutions early on into the season. I think he was doing it early on, trying to figure out his squad. But I would say in the tail end of the season, in the last couple of months, they're becoming far and few in between. They're very rare. I don't think this is the match where you bring the Bacalhau kids. You don't bring children that have no experience at this level. Like I'm excited about these Bacalhau kids, but the reality is that they're not fit to play in the first division against Rio Ave. Why are they fit to play against Inter? Now, I think that falls on Roger if you had in February or in March.
Should be 2 other guys in that spot then.
But when we're killing a team, like when we're up 2-0, we're doing well in La Liga. Take some guys off the field and give, if you want to give Musa some more time, give him some more time. If you want to give the Bacalhau guys some more time, give him some more time. Do some more stuff with these guys. And I understand that after international break, we were rusty. We had a rough game against Rio Ave, so I get that wasn't the right time. Porto wasn't the right time. But if you had done those steps the last couple of months, maybe we had someone on the bench that had a little bit more game minutes and you would have had a bit more confidence. But I just don't think Roger truly has confidence in these guys on the bench. That being said, I look at our 11. I know we're very, very excited about this, what we could have done with this team. But I go back in time, some people are referencing like past teams. You'd have like Cardozo and Lima, or Rodrigo on the bench, and then Nelson Oliveira. You had like more options that you can bring off the bench. Like I really look at this 11. Neres is the only one. I think that's a fair argument of saying, okay, let's not have Florentino or whatever. You can that's the one guy that I think truly you could have an argument saying actually he should have started, maybe he shouldn't. You can have a debate on one player. The rest just falls off like a brick. Like someone said in the chat, maybe took Ba for granted. I like Ba. It's unfortunate he's injured. I think it would have been a different game with him on the pitch. It's a downgrade to Gilberto, and there's no one to downgrade from Gilberto too, because there's not much else. Like again, we're beyond Gilberto, beyond Chiquinho. It's kids. These are inexperienced kids that we be bringing in a quarterfinal of Champions League, and that's the part which I just wish Roger had spent more time throughout the season when the opportunities were there to field some of these guys. But it's a weak bench strength. That's my take on that side.
I agree. I agree with you, Mario.
I was going to say one of the things, kind of just looking at the 11 again and going back to it, right, is that, and just to address the elephant in the room, right, why did Morato even play today, right? We already addressed Gilberto playing Mario with the injury, but Otamendi's yellow card last match took him out today. And right away you knew that we were going to be weaker strength than we usually are, right? We were going to be weaker than we should have been. And I think personally, you're looking at these ratings and it doesn't really show. I think on the pitch itself, and Nelson just brought it up a minute ago, I think it 100% showed. I think personally, Lucas Verissimo would have been better than Morato. I don't think Antonio Silva was as bad as this shows. Odie, I think that's a just rating because he had a couple big saves, but also the last 3 shots on net were 3 goals up before this game, right? They got some more shots on net, but the last 3 shots we had suffered on net were goals, and that can't happen, right? And just look at everything else. Ultimately, I think that David Neres' form merited him a spot in the starting lineup today. Again, does that mean that we would put Fred and Chiquinho in the midfield? Melo, I'm not sure if I still share my screen or not, but Chihuahua, he played in the midfield. Some other games he played in the midfield. He played well in the wing against Marítimo. Fred, I'm talking about. So, like, it's give and take. I've seen games where he's played in the midfield, and I've been like, wow, I like him in the midfield, right? And I think that the reason why is he's a different player than Chiquinho. If you watch Chiquinho in general, and this is why up until this point we really haven't had a problem with Chiquinho because since the beginning of the year, right, he was Chiquinho last year. And when I say last year, 2022, the beginning of the season, whatever happened, I don't know where he was on New Year's, if it was Madeira or the Borussia with Pinto Costa, but he turned it around like 100% because the mistakes they used to make were fundamental, like people say, just fundamental mistakes. He wasn't making good passes. He wasn't making the right passes. Now, if you look, he plays the game safe, right? And because we haven't needed someone to play like Enzo who would make those deep passes or make those riskier passes, it hasn't really exposed us. But today we needed that, right? And today, I mean, it goes into a whole other thing because we were just completely disconnected today. And that really, ultimately, in my opinion, I think reflects less on Chiquinho and more on Rafa Silva taking a nap today. I don't know where he was, but I hope he enjoyed it.
He's been sleeping for 2 weeks. He's been sleeping for the weekend.
I literally,
he's fucking weekend at Bernie's, this fucking guy. Since Friday.
At halftime, I called out Odie. I called out, I think Chiquinho, but that was mainly because I wanted Neres again, fall guy. I called out Rafa, Fred, João Mario. I didn't call out Gonçalo Ramos because I forgot he was on the pitch. I legitimately forgot. I then quote tweeted it, and I think Cynthia saw it, Mario. I was like, oh, right. Yeah, I forgot about him too. He's been terrible. Piss poor.
But here's the sad part about it is if Inter striker's not working out well, they're bringing out a Lukaku, right?
He didn't even. Yeah, I mean.
No. I'm just saying in terms of if you look at our bench, and this is what's kind of infuriating right now is this team has loads of potential and we have the right dream, but the reality it's a very very thin 11 in bench. Like Rafa's not playing. Ramos has been off the last few games. What, Musa? That's it. It's just and Rafa's not a striker. Just a secondary. Like we and that's what I hate right now. Is I think this is a structural issue that just got exposed. We were on a great run, and someone pointed it early on. What a bad time to have a bad run because we have no choices. Like we're so weak. And so, like, if Ramos is going to be garbage, and Rafa's going to be garbage, it's just hard to get someone else on because we really don't have much, right? And yeah, Rafa, that one-on-one shot that he had, you got to finish that, man.
But that it's actually, tough. Mario, that was a tough one. I would say more so is the fact that he didn't play like Rafa does. He should be sprinting on the heels of every time a defender has his back or it has his face to his own keeper, to Onana today. Rafa needs to be on his back because he can steal the ball and he should. Yeah. That time that he went down in the injury, that was a clean tackle too by Gozens. I was going to say, the one thing is if you look at the depth on the bench, yeah, like a kind of a cool thing. In hindsight, it's not cool because we lost and that's what we care about ultimately. But he was on the B team. I'm going to go through this list real quick. André Gomes, B team, B team, B team. First of all, these two guys I think are phenomenal and they'll be the future Benfica. João Tomé, not so much. Rafa, I think Rafa personally, I like him. Verissimo played in the B team as well this year. So up until Neres, all these guys have played in the B team. Verissimo because of injury, but still, right? Neres needed to start, I think. Guedes, I was not expecting him on the bench at all. I saw him at practice,
I didn't expect him to play.
Great.
I thought it was
he's back in training, right?
Yeah.
But him and Musa even got called at the end of the game, if you saw that. And like the 91st minute, which I think personally, ultimately, I don't think this is a personnel issue, Mario. And this could, again, we don't know because we didn't play them. I ultimately think if you had played Casper in the league more, again, to your point.
I agree.
Or not even in the league. Mario, we were up 5-1 against Club Bruges. Right?
Now, against Bruges, on that point, with Bruges, in the 60th minute, we were doing substitutions. He did, in the 60th minute, he did 2 substitutions. In the before the 74th minute, he did 5 subs. Like, Roger was doing subs, but I
But
don't
let's
know,
see
man.
who
It's
he
just he
subbed in,
wasn't
'cause I'm not
taking the
even
right
around.
guys though. He's not giving the right guys the minutes because you have to look at the squad and say if Rafa is out, if Ramos is out, who are you going to replace him with? You know what I mean? Like, and we were doing okay subs. They weren't horrible. I do think he did a good job. He got both Verissimo and Morata out, but he should have done them sooner. I think at that point, knowing that Otamendi got the yellow so early on in the game, we're up several goals. Get those guys out at halftime and let's see which one looks better because we got to figure this out for Inter. And we had several games to build up for this, and we haven't done that much to get that center back ready.
Mario, to your point, if you look here, it's kind of small. Now it's bigger.
Yeah.
If you look here, at halftime against Club Brugge, we're up
We got the
4-0
game's
on
done.
aggregate.
And we're
4-0 on
We're done.
aggregate.
It's over.
If you lose 4-0 on aggregate, it doesn't matter who you put in the pitch because that's always going to happen.
At halftime,
Right,
we should have done those
Right
subs.
here,
Real
and the
quick.
fact that he even waited until the 63rd minute, Mario,
Yeah.
look at when Bruges made subs. Right?
Yeah.
Well, these are at the same time, right? But they made a halftime sub.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think, and this is a time where he needs to mess with the team a little bit earlier, right?
I
And
wanna-
make these changes.
I want to say something real quick.
Yeah.
Joe, you're talking about Gonzalo Ramos today. If you look at these, look at those stats. Assisted by João Mario, assisted by Alex Grimaldo, assisted. Right? Gonzalo Ramos is not the person who's going to pick up the ball at midfield and run all the way to the goal and score goals. Okay, it's not going to happen. Today, if you watched him, he was trying to do that. He had to do that because everybody
100%.
behind him isn't doing shit. Rafa Silva and João Mario, the last two games have been nothing. They've been gone. They've been non-existent. They give up the ball too fast as soon as they receive it. I get that the camaraderie, the
Chemistry?
the togetherness, yeah, that they have. I get that, but in small spaces, it hasn't really worked like it normally has. I don't know the it's missing. It's something's missing. But I can't sit here and say Gonzalo Ramos was disappearing. Gonzalo Ramos was playing defense in the midfield. Right now, the midfield, João Mario and Rafa are the players that had this team going. They're not going. They're not playing. They're not doing anything right now. I'm so glad that everybody in the chat realizes now how important he is, how important a player like that is.
I was on this with you the
team.
whole time, Mello. I
Okay,
was always on that.
that's
with you.
crazy, right? Because I seen again, it's about the decision making. The decision making has been trash. It's been ass. Gilberto has been ass. Tino, I love Florentino Luis, but he's the first player to come off every match. You know why? Because he can't make a forward pass to like at all, like to save his life. It's just something that we were able to hide in the beginning of the year, but now
It's because why were we able to hide it though? Because of Enzo, because people around him. And Florentino today, I actually think that was a smart sub, not even just because of his play, but because he picked up that yellow and we wanted him from the second leg, right? So that was smart.
I agree with that.
In my
But
opinion,
this is where Roger Schmidt to me is too much like Phil Jackson and I don't mean 10 championships, but I mean Phil Jackson.
That's fair.
I'm a Laker fan. What Phil Jackson lets you do is Phil Jackson will let you play and he'll let you play and he'll let you play. Even if you're down 10 points, you're going to 10-0 run. He won't call a timeout. He won't call a timeout to bring his team in to regroup them. He'll let them figure it out. I think, Roger, I don't need you to do that. You can't call a timeout. You got to figure it out. You have to make a move early. You have to identify a weak spot. You can't have such a long leash on these guys because the last 2 weeks has burned us. The last two matches burned us. Your long leash on João Mario, who hardly ever comes out, who's been playing bad. Rafa, he comes out, but after again, the 80th minute. The 80th minute Rafa's coming out. It's not impactful for even Musa, who's not an impactful player anyway. It's not enough time. There's not enough time. Roger has been sitting on his hands, and that's the only thing I want to say that I get that the confidence he puts in his players has got them to where he is now. Got Chiquinho rolling, got Rafa Silva buying back into the team. Grimaldo's playing out of his fucking mind. I'm not saying Roger's lost it. I'm just saying he's kind of lost the plot right now. I don't understand what he's seeing. He leaves them out for too long. He doesn't. And then at the halftime, there's no change in tactics. They just go out and do the same thing. I think it's more. I don't like seeing everybody. Oh, it's this player's fault. It's this player's fault. It's this player's fault. It's a group. It's all of their fault. It's all of them. It's every single fucking one of them. Every single one of them, including Roger. And we just need more. I need better. I expect more. This team has gotten this far. I seen a tweet earlier before the game to start. Best team in Europe. We can play like that without a winger. We could play like that with Fred. We could play like that with João Mário. But these guys got to get it together. And what that is, I don't know. Ever since we came back, and I hate this shit, fucking international breaks. Anytime we come from an international break, it's all fucked up. Everything's always fucked up when we come back from international breaks, right? It's actually making me hate international soccer so much. Can't stand it every time I see it. I'm like, fuck, man, it's a waste of time and nobody's watching it until the World Cup comes. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. One of the things that I wanted to touch on was Nick's comment here today, and I think this is where we missed Otamendi, right? Because today he's the type of guy that would fire us up, and even on the corner option, someone else was just talking about set piece. Oh, right here, right after it was Zach talking about set pieces, and we couldn't do anything today. Like, even though the service was terrible, even if the service was good, no one's in the box to score headers.
Everything's short.
Moratu is 6'8" and plays like he's 5'2". So, and whatever, that's a whole different story. And again, I'm kind of disappointed with that. But, and this is, I'll back up Zach with the two Zachs kind of going at it, right? Like, and also shout out to the chat as always. You guys are the best, and I'm sure you're hurting like we are too. So it's nice to be able to kind of, have this group therapy session. Yeah. But Grimaldo's only as good as the people in front of him, and right now, like, he's got nothing in front of him. So, and that's what, like, even the link-up play and everything, he loves playing those little 1-2 balls with the midfielder and going up the wing and overlapping, and he can't do that right now, right? And the
you know why he can't do that, though, Joe? I want you to keep going, but because Rafa ain't getting there. Rafa's not getting there. He don't play.
Correct.
Arsenis is on the left, but he don't play the give and go with Arsenis like that. He plays it with Rafa, and Rafa's fucking leaving him out to dry. He's just leaving him out to dry right now.
He plays it with Rafa. He plays it with João Mário. He does not even Gonçalo, but correct, not with Fred, not with Chiquinho. Like these, and I think ultimately, if we want to just get to the real meat and potatoes today, right? Do I think we still have a chance in the second half? I hate to say this, but the answer is yes. Because here's the thing: we're one penalty away, and then things can happen. But today,
I do this for the. I had this little fun stat just on this thing alone, because I'm like most people, depressed, disappointed at what happened, and you kind of going, okay, we got a second leg. You can't just sit on your hands. You look at last year with Liverpool, we gave it one heck of a fight, even though we got eliminated and they scored. So I just want to give some false hope, and maybe I shouldn't call it false hope. We've played 13 Champions League matches this season. Of the 13 Champions League matches, we have scored in 9 of those games in the first half. When you go to Inter and score a goal, like, just visualize the idea. You're playing Champions League. We're down 2-0. 10 minutes in, 1-0 Benfica. Are you now sitting on the edge of the couch going, "Holy shit, we might do this. We need 100%. One more." And so that's what I'm saying. It's not over. It's tough. And then now I'm going to be the contrarian. Joao is tough. Only Liverpool went up 2-0 to get spanked by Real Madrid. That's the only team this season that actually, from that much of a scale, came back. It is. You have to. It's very tough, and we concede a goal typically.
And we've never beaten Inter in European competition.
That I actually like those stats when we've never done those things because we're due. But the thing that I don't like, is the fact that Onana right now is leading the Champions League with 6 clean sheets.
Yeah,
right? I don't like that.
It's tough, and then going back to so mathematically, you need to score 2 goals for extra time penalties. Inter rarely concedes more than 2 goals all season against AC Milan, Napoli, Bayern Munich. Conceding 3 goals, I'm talking. This is such a rarity in life. You're talking the best of the best, the top Italian teams, the top European clubs. It is like not an impossibility, but this is a tough mountain to climb now.
I'll say this. I'll say this to that. Benfica played pretty bad today.
Yeah,
they really did. But if I close my eyes and I visualize, there's a couple moments in this match we could be 0-0 going back into.
We could have scored.
You had a bump.
We could have blocked.
Real quick. You had a. Let's just break it down because we ain't talking really much about the game, right? Yeah. You get the early goal. Barella gets the goal. All right, bet game on. Okay, game on. We gave up 1. Okay. Game on. It's not over. I'm not scared. I'm not worried about it. I've seen this team fight back.
We played better.
Little time goes on. Right. Little time goes on. Penalty review on Gonçalo Ramos. Right. Penalty doesn't happen. Right. Could be tied up right here. Penalty doesn't happen. I'm sitting on here on my sofa and I'm like, that's a penalty. I've seen it. I've seen it all year. That's a penalty. Not only is he kicking his leg, but he's got a hold of his jersey. That's got to be a penalty. It has to be a penalty, right? I'm not even worried about it. Chilling. It's not a penalty. Okay. All right. Fine. Benfica's still playing bad. We get a couple scrums. We almost get a goal on a deflection. Or we don't know how it goes. You know, it was there, right? Then fast forward.
That was crazy. I'm just gonna say that was crazy. That was like that's when it's not.
Then João Mario gets called for. I don't know, man. I'm gonna say it. I thought it was
first
ridiculous.
of all, I think it's stupid for him to have his hand above his head like that. But buddy, all you need to do is I'm sorry. It's so Gilbert. Look at every single time. Granted, it's because Gilbert can't do anything else right, so he needs to make sure he doesn't do it wrong. Every single time Gilbert goes for a cross, he'll do this thing where he like sticks out his foot and like kind of like looks like he's about to go stomp the yard on someone, but hands always behind his back. And it's so simple. You don't have to have your hands behind your back. The rule is if the hand is just above the shoulders, and it's so easy not to have your. I mean, I guess when you're jumping, they kind of naturally.
The ball takes a deflection off his hand. I know his hand was up there. I get it. I get it.
I think that's the thing I feel.
If it's them, I'm calling for a pen. But here's the thing. That happened to them in the first half.
That's exactly what I was going to get to, Joe. That's exactly my fucking point.
Was to the side of the body. That was the main difference. Which is tough.
Nevertheless, they get a penalty, right? They get a penalty, and they go up. And it really, without that penalty, I really see 1-0, right? 1-0, we get a shitty penalty called. But Mario just said it. You go into Inter, you score an early goal, you get a penalty call. You never know what happens.
Something happens.
I've seen Inter. Sure, they haven't given up goals, but they're not world beaters. I will say this. I'll say this, Mario. I just as good as they haven't given up 2 goals. They're just as good not to score another fucking goal when we head back to Inter, because I saw them play versus Porto. They were slow, lethargic. Inter didn't help me, and Italy didn't help them much.
They might go home and play like they did against Port and just park the bus and try around the clock. We get 1 goal. They go, we could just keep parking the bus. You'll all of a sudden get a second goal, and it is a mentality. When you decide to sit back and just get bombarded on, thinking you've won the game, and then shit just doesn't work out, all of a sudden there's a lucky bounce, and it's 2-0. To retool and say, okay, guys, I know we said we're not here to play. Now we got to go. It's hard to change the collective team. Again, though, this is maybe, I got to hope. I'm just going to hope. That's all I'm going to do. There's nothing else you could do. At the end of the day, I hope we play our hearts out. The one thing I would say at the end of last season when we got knocked out by Liverpool, we played our goddamn hearts out, and I at least felt shitty about getting eliminated, but it's a weird, shitty elimination where, like, you know what?
I was proud.
I'm proud. Yes, there you go. Like, proud of the team. The fact that they put a fight. I want us after Porto, after fucking João Lives Matter, the after friggin' Port, and after this game, I just want to be proud. I'm not proud of our performance against Port. I'm not proud of this performance today. I just want to come out. Yeah.
Port was terrible, but one of the things today that I was really disappointed with was I was happy to see that at least there was some fight after the goal, right? It wasn't like Porto where we just curled up into a little ball and we were, afraid visibly. Yep. After the goal, we had some, and that's when we had that little scramble in front of the net, right? Like the Gonçalo penalty. A lot of stuff happened after their goal, which, by the way, Odie, man, I don't care if people say Odie couldn't touch the ball. If I'm a keeper, I'm diving at everything. The fact that Odie, when he concedes a goal, just sits there and looks at it. And actually, if you watch the goal, what pissed me off about this one, he's staring at Grimaldo after that goal, as if it's Grimaldo's fault. And not Morata, and even Morata too. I didn't like anyone's composure or posture rather on that goal. After I liked Antonio Silva grabbing the ball, rolling it forward, let's go. They put in a good 15 minutes. I'm sorry. And then this goes to the next goal and back to Roger. After that penalty, after it goes 2-0 down, I don't care if everyone in the pitch is playing phenomenally. That's when you have to make a sub. You need to at least make Inter think, oh shit, they're sitting forward in the FIFA chair now. Okay, and it's just the fact of the matter. That's what you do in the games. Is when goals happen, that is a moment where you need to change things. And we looked dead after that second goal. Inter was closer to scoring 3-0 than we were to making it, 2-1, except for the Gonçalo Ramos miss at the very end of the game.
I've seen this happen. I've seen this this story this season. International break, come back, take you a little bit to get back in tune. But they do. You know what I mean? They do. They figure it out. Roger figures it out. They'll figure it out. I see people thinking like we're just done for the year, like we're gonna lose the championship. We're out
No, we got
I mean,
the
league.
take a step listen, guys, take a fucking step back from the cliff. Okay. One step back. All right. Relax. Okay. Benfica has been a really good team all season. We just suffered back-to-back losses, and everybody's throwing up the white flag. Like, no way. Yes, today was very disappointing, but like I said, we could have came out of that with a draw easily at the end of that match. Like Zachariah said, the first 5 minutes, we almost, knotted it up. In the first 5 minutes of the second half, we almost tied it up 1-1. It can happen just like that with this team. And like I said, I'm disappointed, but but you guys know how I feel about Odie too. I've been saying that, and then somebody had the idea to re-sign him for another couple of years. I don't know what that's all about. But
I'll coming back to the game, right, and looking forward a little bit. So we have Shav on Saturday, and then at 1:00, and then we have Inter next Wednesday, 3:00. Last game, right? Last game of the Champions League. So to me, if we don't see, and this is just me speaking openly with you guys as I always do, right? Like, me as a fan, I'm obviously still going to have that hope deep down because I love this team, and I can't help but dream, right? And we've already said, Mario, multiple times, what do we want them to do ultimately in the Champions League is let us dream, right? But make us proud. Like last year, they let us dream with Liverpool. We knew ultimately deep down, everyone thought, we're not getting past Liverpool. Ultimately, if Villarreal was able to beat Bayern, we should have been able to beat Liverpool. Like, no team is that much better than the other, except maybe City this year. But ultimately, right, like what I'm looking for as a fan this Saturday is if I don't see Rafa wake up, if I don't see João Mari wake up, and I'm not talking score a penalty, right? I expect that at least, but play better defensively and offensively. And if I don't see Gonçalo wake up, I mean, listen, this is the game Wednesdays during work. I might just watch it after because, like, obviously that's a joke, but at the same time, it's like, what's the point? If they don't show us something this weekend, it's like slapping us in the face. And ultimately, Roger, if we don't see David Neres start this weekend, if he doesn't shake it up this weekend, I think he should be shaken up this weekend. And listen, you could put out the same starting 11 plus Otamendi, right? Because obviously he's going to be back, and plus Neres. That's fine. Keep playing Chiquinho or Fred, or maybe even both.
Make one change. Make one change.
And listen, Mario. And put in the subs at the 60th minute or the 55th minute, right? That was something with JJ Lodge. Like, ultimately, whenever you're losing, everyone's going to be calling for subs. Coaches know what they're doing for the most part. And I've trusted Roger over the course of the season, right? Like, as a Pats fan, I trust Bill Belichick with moves because he's there in training, right? When I'm like, oh, why doesn't he play these kids? Maybe it's because they don't deserve to play. A game like today, no. That's where you throw that out the window. You need to put people on the field, right? If you have a roster of 28, 25 guys, right, more or less, which is what they have with the B team. If only 12 are worthy of playing, just call it. Call the season, right? Like, I don't know, start bringing up U12 kids or something. Like, ultimately, at that point, you cannot only be playing with a rotation of 12 players. We cannot.
I wonder, Roger at the end of the match said, my understanding of comics, obviously he knew this was coming from the collective fan base in the media about the subs. So right away, he addressed it. And it was more of an FU. He determines who needs to play. And there's no rule in the books about needing to use substitutions. And I don't know if it's like just a statement saying, this is my team, this is who I believe in. And I don't know if it's a message to Rui Costa or just a message to the bench. Because maybe, like Joe said, I don't know what's going on. But maybe in training, these guys were shit. Maybe the other guys were even worse. And I don't know, but it is disheartening. As a fan, you kind of sit there and you're like, God damn it, But part of me, I just want a good result next match. I hope we put up a good fight, even if we win 1-0, get knocked out. Ideally, I want to win. I want to hope us advancing would be amazing. But I just want a good fight. I want to believe. I hope before that match is Shavs. We need to win Shavs. I know people, I don't think we're losing the title. At the same time, we got Sporting and we got Braga. It's a must-win game for Braga, and Sporting's on the heels of Braga also, and the gap isn't that far away between all those guys, between Porto, Braga, and this and that. Those are going to be tough matches. if we drop more points, it will all of a sudden become extremely stressful for everyone at the club because this club did implode very recently the last couple of years. What a big league.
Yeah.
I mean, you name it. Like,
There is no excuse. We should beat Shavs. Shavs is a very beatable side. They're a winnable side. They are just doing god awful. They're just complete trash. I'm being disrespectful, but they have not in the last several matches won. They won a couple of matches.
We get to play Santa Clara before we. Okay.
it's
They're
the last
trash.
game of the
We need
season.
a Santa.
Uh,
Oh,
That's the
perfect.
last game of the season.
And
That's
I
a
think
dub
we're
for
So
just
we
sure.
can't
we
completely
have
choke
the
it.
title. I
Jeez.
guess we have the title. There's no
Okay.
debate. We got this. But we
And
need.
you know
I
what?
look at the strikers. Like I'm looking at the bench when I look at the players out in the 11. I'm getting very annoyed at Rams because I think he did horrible against Port, and today wasn't great. And I just kind of look at him like, man, I wish we had someone else. And I just remember Benfica would have Saviola, Cardozo, Jonas, Lima. Like we always had like two
Rodrigo.
quality top strikers. And then we had really exciting guys on the bench, man. I really hope they play that man Torres. I really hope that we play Rodrigo. I really hope we play this guy. I hope we really play that guy. You know what I mean? We always had the next up and coming. We have the next. What we have right now is the Rodrigo, the young kid, like the Ramos. He's that. Hopefully, he's the next thing. But we have no one else. We don't actually have an officially experienced striker up front. We don't have someone different to pick on. Like, and I kind of feel bad, man. I feel bad about this kind of situation. I think that's something that I hope gets addressed in this summer. I know we shouldn't be talking about the transfer window or any of that stuff quite yet, but
You'll have to. You'll have to because and that's I said that in the beginning of the show was we got two guys we've never seen, and that really just goes along with not having this team. I think just prepared, and I meant by that second bench, that second wave of guys. By now, man, you had to have found somebody, whether it was on the B team or in the league itself, man. But I feel a little I don't know. I feel like it's being cheapened a little bit, and I know now I can see why everybody was a little bit more upset than I was initially by not replacing Enzo. It hurts that now. It's like you really don't have anybody.
You had no time. You had no time.
And not only that, but also too, what bothers me about it is even okay, you can't replace Enzo. You don't have it. Is this the best formation we should be playing? Should we? You know what I mean? Is this the best?
We don't have the strikers to choose striker formation.
Like, listen,
you might as well just play a 4-3-3. You know what I mean? Like just to keep everybody in the fucking middle. That way, everybody gets their fucking. Everybody gets what they want, right? Fred's in the middle, João's in the middle. Everybody, just put everybody in the fucking middle because fuck.
You want to know something though, Mello? And I think that we can talk about all these things, but I think ultimately, if you're only playing with 12 guys, no formation is going to help you, right? Like the formation changes.
Right.
The fact of the matter, I think, and listen, we've been able to trust Roger this whole time because he's had the team playing very well.
Agree.
And when we say playing very well, well above what we expected of them.
Yes.
Right. Like yes, we had, and listen, and I'm saying, and you can say all you want about Enzo not mattering. The fact that Enzo's quality, you cannot mistake Enzo's quality, especially when he was at Benfica with Florida team, right? Because the two of them together were one of the best midfielders.
They're
good enough to make us better, but not good enough to make Chelsea any better because they're trash. Boy, them boys are trash. How valuable?
But I'll say this much.
Not 120 mil, Val, but thank you.
As Chelsea keeps falling down the table each week, all I hear from Chelsea fans is, "My God, thank God we have Enzo because we're so garbage. He's the only thing that looks decent." And I see Chelsea fans all the time. Like we lost, we have a trash team. Everyone sucks, but Enzo.
They have to say that, Mario.
Don't get me wrong.
They have to. They went out.
They spent money on a lot of other talents.
But the way they did the way that the Benfica thing went down, and the way that they felt, their fans felt, the fan base felt. You have to drown with this guy. You're gonna have to because you flexed your muscles.
I'm just
you paid $120.
Like it was a talented player. That's a fact. He was a talented player.
Absolutely.
And that's the item. I want to address one. Someone asked about Chuck. I'm okay that we don't have him. Like I'm complaining about not having another striker, but he went to a weaker league and he's only scored 2 goals. Chuck the Chuck. Yeah, exactly. No, like I think he scored 2 goals.
I don't say Chuck the Chuck, but
yeah, like no offense to Belgium, but if you can only score 2 goals at the top Belgium team, one of the big ones, he's just not that guy, right? You know what I mean?
I'm sorry.
I think
I'm just trying. Today was so shit. I'm just picturing these people saying this in my head, and it is making me feel a little bit better because, like, when I look at the squad we have now, without Chuck, without Seth, like, I mean, just if Seth was playing today, guys, like, look,
I would have cried.
is Musa the solution? No, and I think that this ultimately comes down to, I'll speak for me, and Melo, I guess this is kind of similar, right? Like, I was big on them for a variety of reasons. I thought they'd be a now solution. And I think that in hindsight, obviously, they haven't been just because Roger isn't playing them. But look, Andreas Sheldrup, at least from what I've seen, this is obviously my opinion. I'm not seeing him in training. Just from what I've seen in the games and kind of his background, right, pretty soon he's going to be breaking into the Norway first team. Kasper, I don't know about that with Denmark. But in Norway now is going to be a serious team with all jokes aside, with Fred, with Odegaard, with Holland, like, they're about to be a real force. And so this guy has a lot to prove, right? And I think if you played Sheldrup, he would show. Even today, Mario, look, there was a lot of pressure on him, and we were playing like shit, so it probably wasn't the right time to play him.
But I just wish we used them a little more in the last couple of months. I think it's pretty much it. Against Bruges, everything. I think today, it's weird. In an isolated case, I get why you didn't play them because they've had no minutes. But if you had done the work a few months ago, I think maybe if we're up 2-0 against Club Brugge and you brought these kids out and they stunk ass, then you did it against another team and they stunk ass and we still got those wins, people wouldn't be sitting here saying maybe, shoulda, woulda, coulda. You gotta.
Or Mario, maybe if those guys aren't ready, they shouldn't be sitting on the bench and taking 2 spots from 2 young kids who might have been able to provide a couple more minutes. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are talking about B-team players. Like, that's where I'm coming from a little bit, where it kind of pissed me off, where he's sitting on his hands too long. He's ran the starters ragged. International duty, pile that on with this lineup hasn't changed since week 4. You know what I mean? Since basically, changed again. Then changed again when Enzo, right? So it's been this way for a while, and it just hasn't. Neres doesn't get the starts. The Norwegians, they don't get minutes. Why waste time on this? What's the kid's name? João, number 88.
Oh, João Neves.
João Neves. That's my point, though. You run this guy, you play him, you give him more minutes than Peter Musa. I see the kid in more matches at most times than Peter does, and then you don't use him. You don't use him whatsoever. I don't know how good or bad he is. To me, he looks like a nice little firecracker. You bring him in, he makes a couple moves, he gets the ball forward. What's not to like about it? What's not to like about this shit? You're down 2-0 with fucking 20 minutes left at 70th minute. I'm like, surely we have to be bringing someone in. And then it was Neres. And then check this out. They were going to bring in Gedge, and they were going to bring in Peter Musa. But he just managed it wrong, and they had to send him back to the bench. It's a bad look. It's a very bad look. It's like you were scared to pull the trigger. I don't know.
To me, it's something
he's failed these last 2 matches. It just he's been outmanaged these last 2 matches, and that's very worrisome for me.
It's the first time that's happened all season. Because if you look at Braga, I don't think he was outmanaged those games. The teams didn't show up. The team, and there's difference as a manager, right? Sometimes it comes down to the manager not messing with the team and not knowing with his team. Other times you could have Pep Guardiola, right, with City, and sometimes it doesn't matter if you're playing against a 3rd division team, Mansfield Town or something like that. They just won't show up. They won't show up, right? And the other team shows up, and that's that. And that can happen, and I think that's what happened the first international break post-World Cup, right, with the Braga 3-0 loss. We just didn't show up, even Enzo. And that's okay. When I say that's okay, that will happen. But today, and in general, what I'm looking from him now is, look, we have 7 matches left. Well, we have 8 matches guaranteed left, right? Inter, and then 7 league matches. In those Liga matches, Mario, if we are 1-0 up or even 2-0 up and we can't trust anyone beyond, 1 or 2 players and maybe put in Musa just because, you want to rest Gonçalo, that's an issue. And the fact that Roger was happy with the squad, and again, look, I know how people manage the media and stuff. They're going to say things that aren't always true and instill confidence. And someone was saying that Chiquinho wasn't the type of the player that you can take off because it'll ruin his confidence. And look, today Chiquinho didn't deserved to be taken out. I was upset.
He
Ultimately,
did
he made the
okay.
right.
He wasn't great, but he wasn't
made
the
the right
worst.
move.
He was far from the worst.
No, and he
from
made
that.
Roger made the right move today. And if we go back to it, taking off Florentino, who was a yellow card away from missing the second leg, right? When this team's playing well, Florentino's a big part of that. Let's not get that twisted. He made the right move. But what was wrong was, again, seeing João Mario not really with it today. Look, after that goal, after the penalty, João Mario out. Okay, bring back to that. I'm with it.
Absolutely.
João Mario out. And look, for me, Rafa out. Honestly, for me, Gonçalo out. And just put in these young kids and see what happens. Because look, but you have to tell them as a manager.
Gonçalo out,
listen,
man.
guys.
You can't take Gonçalo out, bro.
You see at the end of the game,
he's just so. But
he's hit or miss, but he does score.
But he's been so hit. He's been so hit lately. He's been so hit. It's just everybody else.
I would say he's been hit this season. Lately, he hasn't. Like Rio Ave, Porto.
But that goes. But that goes with. He's a lone striker. He's a lone striker, and his quarterbacks have been failing him. They've been failing him a little bit. They're not giving him. I'm not saying that he don't deserve none of the. I mean, like I said, everyone deserves a little bit. But come on, man. I think we got to do better behind him. We have to put him in better spots. If João Mario's not having a good game, if Fred's not having a good game, if Rob's not having a good game, they need to start looking to let's switch it up. Have a talk, have a switch, do something, involve Gonçalo more in the offense.
I know, this is where I agree with you. We just have to make a point. We have no other option outside of Gonçalo. That's the challenge I have. So it's one of these things where I agree with you, where you can't really. Musa's not the right guy, and Gonçalo has some opportunities. He's just been really terrible lately. What can you do around him to see if you can re-energize it? But it's just kind of disappointing that this club finds itself in a position where we're dependent on a very green young striker that has lots of promise. Like, we don't have a Mitroglou coming off the bench. Like, where is that senior guy that's been bagging goals for the last 8 years? That's a decent player. That one, the João Felix isn't having a bad game. Mitroglou goes in. When you have, it's these other guys that we used to have.
We need a Weghorst on the fucking team.
We need someone. We need someone else to come in. And Musa's
Weghorst
not that guy.
Would be nice on Benfica, bro.
He'd let us score on set pieces.
He'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yes, he would. I just when you said that, it just reminded me of that move. I get it, and Gedge, and then there goes a guy. Oh, we should have brought him in, but then we're all complaining about guys not getting minutes. He ain't ready either. He just got back from an injury.
No, I don't think Gedge should have. To me, I think the idea that Gedge was even on the bench was a shock. I thought he was there just to watch the game because he is expected in another week or so. He was not expected to play.
I wasn't expecting him to play until May.
Yeah,
like,
so
with what they said about his injury, I was like, okay.
I'm bitching about lack of early subs, but if he ripped out someone out
there you go. Look, Nick, who just said that? Glenn. If you're taking out João Mario and Gonçalo Ramos deserves a chance with others, he does. That's my thing.
Yeah.
You got to take. If I'm not mistaken,
so
that's
Glenn is kind of telling what I'm saying. You got to give Gonçalo a different look in the match. You have to give him different looks. You can't get the same ass looks all match, because I think somebody else said it too. They figured this shit out. They figured out what Benfica wants to do because we don't change it up. We don't change no matter what. That's the formation. This is the tactics. It's not going to change. We're not going to move faster or slower. We're just going to go how we've been doing it in practice. But I do believe that Gonçalo Ramos deserves a different look earlier in the match, because he could have the shittiest fucking game. The defense has been good enough to keep us in matches, and then all of a sudden, boom, we're in a goal, and he's blowing smoke out of pistols, and no one's fucking upset about it anymore. But we've been getting dominated in this midfield, and it's not hard to see it. It's really just, it's like, we're being so bad that I'm telling you, watch this shit again. Watch how many times Gonçalo Ramos had to go back to play defense. The lone striker is at playing midfield defense. Like, somebody's not doing their fucking job over there. And I can't say that it's just, Gonçalo. I think.
Oh no! Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's his fault to take him out. My big thing is just changing the energy. And again, maybe it's messing around with, again, like you said, João Mario and Rafa. They definitely need to get out. But today, he went ghost. I think he went ghost for the first half, and then he had that chance at the end. And again, a lot of strikers are like this though, because if the chance comes, they'll score. But I think that he's also the type of player, Gonzalo I'm talking about now, that would react well from getting taken off. That would light a fire up under him, and maybe that's what he needs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe to win that game, to score goals. Ultimately, he had the chance at the end to score, right? He didn't get it. Other times he will. That happens. But I think that I just need to see I need to see something out of him. For example, if I don't see something out of him with the starters against Shavs, I want him off, and I want to see Casper. I want to see these new guys because Roger's got to start thinking to himself.
I have to see Gedge. I have to see Gedge get some minutes in this match because that's what I'm saying, man. You get Gedge in with Gonzalo Ramos or however you want to do it. You could sit Fred, you could sit Chiquinho, you could make it a little bit more offensive. This game, this 2-0, man. Inter is just, I don't know. I'm not scared. I know it's so crazy. Maybe I'm breed too much confidence in this team, but just I definitely think we could do it, man. I just have this funny feeling. That's why I don't want to shit too much on everybody today because in a week I'm gonna be like, I fucking told you. I fucking told you so. That's what I'm picturing. You know what I mean? I'm just saying in general.
No, but I would like to be. I personally sometimes half the stuff I say when I'm trashing people is because I want people to come back and I'm like, you know what, please just make me look like an idiot. I don't care. Ultimately, I want this team to win, right? But switching the subject real quick to you're saying against Inter in this next half. And I mean, we've seen it in games in the league, right? You're a red card away from crazy stuff happening. With Rafa Silva is an immediate red card. He's a red card threat for any defense. Because if Rafa's running behind your defense and someone takes him down and he's clear on goal, that's a red card. And who knows, maybe a free kick outside the box, Grimaldo bangs it in. You're one penalty away. Penalties can happen to anyone. Handballs can happen to anyone, right? Especially the way we play with this little tiki-taka. I'd like to play inside of the box more. These things happen. Right, we're definitely not out of it, but it's going to be very tough. And
Rafa needs to be more like Speedy Gonzalez and less like Slowpoke Rodriguez. Okay, because this shit is just not. He's been ass, man, and I hate to say that, but he's just he had a chance today to put a goal, one shot, one banger, just put it on, and he decides to be cute. Stop being cute. You guys know what I'm talking about? He had a chance, a one-timer.
It was right
just
the first
a one-timer.
Half. It was the first half off
a one-timer, bro. Put it in the back of the net. Don't fucking think about it. Don't touch it. Don't twinkle toes it. Don't try to run past anybody. Just bang it home. And he doesn't do it. And
even in the second half with the Grimaldo
that just shows me. Go ahead, Mark. But that just shows me he's not confident. He's not confident in himself. He wants to get the easy goal. He wants to make itself a little easier for him. Man, put it between the legs, man. Rifle it home.
So just on a foregoing basis, because again, you can't change the past. It is what it is. And because of the lack of options, and we can't now all of a sudden take a child that's never had experience and put him in. We can try, but you're just gambling. One thing I hope maybe he tries against Shavs, and I would like to see a change that I think is very realistic, is Nettis. Start Nettis. You're talking about
he needs to. He needs to.
He needs to start him, and here's the reason why. If you look at the top 11 players with the most minutes played, Nettis is not on that list. List off the top 11. He's not. I'm looking at the stats now. He's number 12. There's 11 players that play more minutes than Nettis all season.
He's had injuries too, but still.
The guy with the most assists, Nettis is second for the most assists on the squad, and he doesn't crack the top 11 most minutes played. And the guy assists. And if you're talking about we have no options in the striker, it's Rams. It's not working out. It ain't like we take him off and put a Salvio, a Lima, or someone else. We just don't have that. It's frustrating. We got to work with what we have. He's going to play. He's not getting fed the ball the right way. Against Shafts, put Nettis next to him. That's it. Put him out and see if he continues to do what he does, which is get assists. And if he does it, maybe that'll light him up. We just gotta.
And then what you do? Well, then what you do is you keep a short leash on João Mario, or you keep a short leash on Fred, or whoever's fucking up. You put Gedge in there.
Yeah, then Gedge, because now he was injured. Maybe he comes on as a sub against Shavs. Make sure he's okay. And if Gedge is looking half decent and you want to go all out, you can put Gedge on one side, Nettis the other side, and just fucking go.
Hey, I don't know how decent he is or not, but I know Gonzalo Gedge is gonna go out there and he'll give it everything. He'll move. He'll make space. There's no reason we shouldn't go all out, balls to the wall in this next match and come out on top.
Okay, do you know why we need to start Mario? Because of this.
Yep.
Okay, again, have I verified if this is true? No, but I saw it on Twitter, and this Gonçalves kid typically tweets a lot of BS too. But I would say that I believe it before not believing it. He went to the locker room today alone without shaking anyone's hand or anything. Probably pissed because he didn't play a lot. And listen, he is a guy that right now is in top form. You don't want to piss him off. I think he's pissed off to the perfect amount right now where you lit a fire under his ass and said, look, Naj, we need you to score. And ultimately, did you see how much he did today? He did so. If he had started this game, it's a whole different story. We don't know how the game would have gone. But if he had just started the second half, we don't concede that first goal, I don't think. I don't think we could see the second goal. Yeah. So I think ultimately.
No, but I agree with you. I think Ned it's the prime time. Get him against Shavs, and we'll see what he does. This is also kind of funny. You guys chirping along like it was a pretty goddamn balanced game. You guys got lucky on a couple of calls.
And also just saying, Inter, listen, if anyone knows anything about the Italian league, just take a look. Inter is really not levels above us. They're away from home. They're bottom half of the table in Italy. So they played well today, and they have a decent squad, but they're by no means far and away better than Benfica. Look, there are a lot of people that will never give Benfica credit. Benfica could win 4 Champions Leagues in a row, and people would say, "Oh, at tout robad," or they'd say that we're not that good, that we just get lucky, or the refs and everything like that. Ultimately, I'll give credit where credit's due, but I'm not Italian. I'm an Inter fan. Okay, well, yeah. Again, today were they better than us? Not necessarily. They were more lethal, and they were more efficient, which is why they won the game. But but ultimately, and in the Champions League, I mean, they won again 1-0, and we won 7-2. So like, if you want to talk about form translating, then Benfica just had a bad 2 games. Look, but ultimately, and if we lose to Inter, I think that not even I think, Vegas thinks that we were the favorite, right? So the underdog would win if Inter wins. We were in better form. We've been having a great season with better players and in the Champions League and the league, everything than Inter this year. Should Inter have won this game today? No. I mean, literally if you look at betting odds and stuff, they should have won. Now, the way that they played, they took advantage of their opportunities. We couldn't. Did they deserve the 3 points? Yeah. Did it deserve to be 2-0? No. But hey, that's what happens. So it doesn't matter who deserved what,
No, it's at the end of the day, it doesn't matter that Benfica had 58% possession, that we had far more shots.
I mean,
as a club, at the end of the day, they got the one good goal. They got the PK.
Yeah.
They got the result. It is what it is. If it was the other way around, we'd be happy. So,
yeah. And if you want to look just at kind of general performance, right? Like, and this is kind of working for Inter today. If we look at just all the stats, right? XG, yeah, we should have scored, but whatever. I don't care about that. Shots, they had more in that. And that just comes down to us not being lethal enough offensively and not shooting, right? Corners don't really matter. Fouls, okay, we were aggressive, but we were also slow to the ball in the first half, big time, which is one of the things we haven't talked about. But the first half, and I think that's what a lot of this is down here, Inter was way quicker to every single ball, right? All the duels they were winning, all of the balls in the air they were winning. It continued mainly in the second half too, but if we actually break this down, which we can here, yeah.
The second half turn around a lot differently.
This is a joke. You know what I mean? 7 versus 1, 31-14. So, and when you look at the second half, we sort of fought back a little bit, right? So like pretty even. But again, the first half, they just started much quicker than us, and the first half didn't show anything. If you look at all these second half stats, this is where all the chances pretty much came out, and the counterattacks are what killed us because they were lethal on counters and we weren't. We didn't defend well. Why didn't we defend well, in my opinion? Because we didn't have Otamendi. And I think he's a guy that can help. With him and Antonio Silva, they feel like they're in control of that back line at all times. When I looked at Moratu, like I said, he might be 6'3", 6'4", 6'8". I don't care how tall he is. He plays like a scared little kid. He always has, in my opinion, too. Like, he's had some good games, and he always does these risky passes across the net. I personally, I wouldn't mind if he left, and that's partly speaking off of emotion right now, but also just partly because look,
this is where it sucks though. If you look at last season, Verissimo we're hoping to God, can we somehow convince him to stay like the next Luisão? This guy is
he was going to England. He was a one-way ticket to England.
He was a world beater. Then he got injured. Then he's come back, and we have not utilized him as a sub enough to get him back in the system. And if he got back into the system and got playing a bit, I think today, if you compare him on paper against Morata, he's just a better center back.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It happens.
You know what was so funny was Moratu
yeah.
had so much promise in the start of the season too. He looked so good with the ball at his feet. It was complete. I mean, but that's what happens when you don't get a lot of time.
Mm.
I mean, again, watching the game today, I don't think it was a game where, where we couldn't have came out on top. I mean, yeah,
I
they
got no
won.
patience for the Inter fan right now. I'm sorry. Like I kind of idiot web poll. Go find your own English channel.
They probably don't
my
have
thing
one.
was, and that was my thing. I haven't said too much of Inter or how they played or how any of that because they weren't impressive. Yeah, they got to the ball first. They got some bounces. I mean, that's how the football works sometimes. We were in the game. We could have tied it up there at the end. You know, they get a shit penalty. It is what it is. But again, I think for me coming into this match, and I've come on this show many a times and says, you know what, they're just better. They did this, they did. Where I'm talking about the other team today. I was talking about what I wanted to talk about was how Benfica has been just not leaving it out on the pitch these last two matches.
No, like this is far from the. If you kind of look at our results and how we play as a team, you look at all of our European matches. This is the worst match we've played. We've done far better against PSG, Juventus. A lot of the other teams we faced, right? It was a poor showing on our part, just like it was a poor showing against Porto. And it was a really weak showing against Real Ave. Like, we really did struggle with that one. It's just ever since the international break, something's off. And I hope Roger figures it out. And I think we'll still win the league. And I hope we give a good fight and we have something to hope for. And I'm just going to take it as a blank slate when we face Inter. We get one goal, we're back in it. That's it.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I think that, and we have, anyone that watches the show knows that we're not afraid to say when Benfica doesn't deserve to win. And today even, did they deserve to win? Did we deserve to win as a team? No.
No.
Did we deserve to lose to nothing? No. Right? Like those things could both be true.
Yeah.
And
it could, like I said, if the call was win or the right way. I mean, to me, the Gonzalo Ramos is a penalty with the kick and the grab that has to be called. It just does.
It's unfortunate that I hate the fact that.
And then let's say they do get the 2-1. Let's say
if you're going to call that close of a handball, then you're going to be okay. If you're going to be that tight to the rules, you're tight to the rules.
Right.
Call both calls.
Call both calls. Right. Call what it is. And then you're looking at, and let's say they take the 2-1, but you're looking at a game where Benfica played like shit. They got lucky, right? And they nabbed a goal. You're looking at a 2-1 game going back to Italy. And again, it's not like that's a fortress for them. It's not like, I've seen Italian fans, Inter fans, Juventus fans get taken out real quick. Okay. Real quiet, real fast. That's what Benfica has to do. Go in there, take the crowd out, get an early goal. And shit, tie it up in the first half. I've seen this team do it. I've seen it. I've seen them light a fire. Roger's going to go back to the lab. He's going to see what they've been doing wrong. What changes need to happen. And I'm very confident they'll make those changes. Maybe that FU today. Maybe that FU today with, this is my team, this is who I play. Maybe that wasn't at us. Maybe that's to them. You know what I mean? Maybe it was so that the
show me more in training.
Yep.
Exactly. Show me more in training or you're gonna take the seat. And I'll say this. You do have to make changes. But who do you sit? For me, it's Rafa. No, you sit Rafa for Neres. For me, that's it. For me.
Real quick, Melo. Are you talking about Chaves? Are you talking about Chaves or next Inter game?
I say do the Chaves first. Just focus.
Do the Chaves first.
Do the Chaves, and if it works for the Chaves, do it in Inter.
And do Chaves first. I say Neres for Rafa.
Hold on, real quick.
I'd say Neres for João Mario. Because João Mario's had 2 back-to-back rough games.
Who? João Mario?
Yeah, because he plays João Mario on the right, technically.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that Rafa has to take the seat. Rafa has been more poor than even João Mario. And that's just, and I know, but they've both been poor. But I think Rafa, it's because if everything is going to go through him first before it gets to Gonzalo Ramos, it's not working. Yeah, it's not working.
Put up a good face this weekend. Get a good result. Make 1 or 2 changes. Just 1 or 2 changes in the start 11. You just got to do a couple of things. Come in with fire. Do a couple substitutions if you need to. And then, boom, you go through and you do it.
One of the things that I was going to say real quick when we're talking about like Chaves and everything like that that's coming up, I think what you do, you make 2 moves. and this could be right, this could be wrong. I think that you take out Fred and you start Nance, and then you also, it's not necessarily something that is going to happen with the starting lineup, right? But I think in the beginning of the second half, out of Rafa, João Mario, and then either Chiquinho or Florentino, whoever's playing poor, right? You, for the midfielders, you bring in Fred and you put him in there. And then for Rafa or João Mario, you need to take one of them out and put in a Bacalhau brother and move the other to the middle, right? If it's João Mario, for example. I think you need to play Andreas. I think you need to – this kid literally is so highly touted by everyone except the Benfica fans. Well, even some Benfica fans, right? But in general, and Roger, this kid is good, man. This kid is very good, and I think from what I've seen, he's ready because he's just like a dribbler, right? The kid doesn't lose the ball at his feet. Let him get some confidence. I thought he already played with confidence when he showed it. And let Neres ball. I think Neres scores at least one goal, probably gets a couple assists, maybe a goal to Gonçalo. I think we'll beat Shaz this weekend. I also thought we were going to beat Inter, so it doesn't matter what I say. Oh, yeah, perfect. Right, so sit Tino actually and play Fred. And
Fred
and you know what?
Actually, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say the idea of Fred
because Tino has been not very good lately either, and no one's been saying it. I know somebody said it earlier.
It's because he doesn't have what he had in Enzo, and he has to run more now. Before Tino's position, it has completely transformed since Enzo left, but it's not even because of that. It's because when he plays with Frederick, I think he plays better, which is very rare. But Chiquinho today, like they just look so disconnected today, man. You look at this lineup. Tell me one time that we saw a formation look like this today, because I could think of maybe 2 times, and it was after the first whistle and then the halftime whistle, the second half whistle. It was just so disconnected and disjointed, and I don't think we played well at all. I'm frustrated.
I think right there, you take out Florentino Luis, like he's gonna be out anyway. You drop Fred back, you take out Rafa, you put in Gedge on the right, and you put in fucking Neres behind fucking Gonçalo Ramos. I mean, that's got to be like,
I like that.
I mean, fuck, do we have to play FIFA here? Like, geez, man. Like, please, this guy has to do something, man. He has to do something.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, George, Port didn't play with 3 in the back, so this is closer to something Sporting plays. But anyway, yeah, I agree with you, Nick. I mean, I think I don't think I could say it enough. And look, there is hope. We just, like Nick said, and like other people have said, we need to show something this weekend, right? Yeah, and even if it's not us, like, look, if we win 2-0 or 1-0 and we play well and we're just missing chances, we need to create chances. Because today we created, technically speaking, we created 4, but one of those we didn't even create. Like the big chance that Rafa missed in the first half was off an Inter defender's chest.
It was it bounced perfectly in front of him, and then
I like that. Right
even
there.
In the second half, 2 of the chances, one of them was a cross, but then the second big chance was just a little mix up in front of the net, right? That we couldn't get. Too
bad Gilberto was going to be there again. Damn, he was bad. I love that guy, but only in short spurts.
There's sometimes he does okay, but man, when he's not okay.
But it didn't help that João Mario, like this 6.9 rating, I think is hilarious because I think João Mario today was not good. There were some times, like at the very end of the game, I think actually he was doing okay, which is ironic because I said I wanted him out. But and there were those little pockets, right, of energy where we were playing the way that we always do, right? Getting the ball to the outside backs and either playing it up or I don't know, man. I don't know. And again, this is to all say, I'm talking about the Champions League. In the league, I feel totally comfortable. And in general in the league, I think we need to see more players played because they deserve it. I'm not in training, but I think they deserve it just, again, for being a part of this team. But what do we know, right?
Yeah, agreed.
Do you want to touch on something a little bit? We could go Shreese, I guess, but the other thing I was going to touch on, some fun plans. You want to switch up a tiny bit?
Oh, yeah. So probably a little less fun now, unfortunately, because kind of preemptively was hoping to catch a Champions League semifinal match with our favorite club in it. But I'll be in Lisbon, and I'm actually going to be in Lisbon the same time as Mario and the same time as Luis. So the 3 of us will get, and obviously Cynthia's going to be there as well, I should mention. So I'll get to meet 3 of the wonderful people that make this podcast. So I'm wicked excited. And we're going to try to, aside from just meeting up and stuff, I'll be there for pretty much the whole month of May. So I get there like the 9th, and I'll be there for the rest of the month. Better be in the Marquês. Hopefully I'm in the Marquês with Mariu somehow, if it works out. But yeah, super excited to. I'm going to try to catch all the games when I'm there. Portimonense away, Sporting away, and then Santa Clara at home. And then again, I would love to be able to go to a Champions League match in the semifinals.
Gotta hope for that.
But yeah, I mean, that would make my whole year. So
yeah, so it's funny, the overlapping things. I land first.
And that wasn't planned.
It wasn't planned. It was kind of, we all systematically built this out. But basically, I planned out to go, I leave April 30th, get there for May. Shortly afterwards, Leash pops in. There'll be the Braga match. That's kind of the whole match there. And then shortly after that weekend, Joe lands. And then Luis leaves he leaves, I think, the next day or 2 days later.
Like 2 days, yeah.
We got to make sure the day you land, we got to coordinate that day, and we're just trying to figure out exactly what we're going to do. And then my game plan was at the end of the day to maybe spend the end of my trip in Algarve. With the way the scheduling works, I leave Monday. So as long as that game, I hope, is on a Saturday or Sunday, likely will be. I get to go to the game with Joe for Portimonense. I just gotta make sure I'm wearing like a wife beater, because if I show up with a Benfica scarf, they're gonna strip my fat ass. And they're gonna be like, and they're gonna be like, okay, sir, take off your shirt. Then I'm gonna take it off, and they're like, okay, sir, take off your sweater. And it's like, no, this is chest hair. I can't fucking take this shit off. And my kids will walk in topless and shit, because I'm gonna have them all be Benfica gear. So I'll be honest, like with that Portimonense game, we'll get tickets, but likely I'm gonna have to wear like a plain shirt, because I don't want to be caught up with this stupidity, because these guys are idiots. These guys are like, vai pra rua. There you go. Vai embora. Vai fazer xixi. There you go.
No, but if we want to do Shirisa the match and all that stuff, it'd be great. But yeah, I mean, I plan on trying to meet up with some Twitter peeps if they're in Lisbon at that time. I'm gonna be working and stuff, but pretty much every morning I'll have free, because I'm just gonna work like US hours. So I'll be working late most of the nights, unless again, if I was able to watch some Champions League games, like I have the dates like reserved for being off. But what's crazy, Mario, is that day that I would get there, it's like that Tuesday, Wednesday would be the first semifinal.
Yeah, I know. I would be cool just to go to a bar somewhere and just fucking.
I don't think it's gonna happen, unfortunately. But like, even if it's watching. I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens tomorrow. I have always had a feeling that Milan's gonna make it through. We'll see what happens. But
I was thinking of Milan. I think Milan will be in the semi. But for now, I think I agree. We have to dream. Just hope for it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Anything's possible. It's 2 goals is a very easable. What are they saying?
Yeah,
2 goal lead is the most dangerous lead in.
Not a dream. It's very doable. It's very doable, bro.
It's doable. If Arbo Benfica shows up, and here's the thing. If Arbo Benfica shows up the second the match starts, like today, I knew today wasn't it. Look, when I say today wasn't it, today wasn't Arbo Benfica, the one we've seen all season. They still could have gotten a result, and at times it looked like we were gonna. But ultimately, if you see Arbo Benfica come out,
that's what I'm.
If I see Arbo Benfica come out, I am confident actually that we'll tie it up. And if you tie it up, goes to extra time, anything can happen, right? Unless you go to penalties and Odie won't save shit. But
yeah. Oh no, I told you, Odie couldn't save a cent. This fucking guy. Fucking dude. Fucking guy couldn't save a fucking penny if he fucking. I hate to see what his bank account looks like. This fucking guy. But
it looks better now that he renewed.
Over $1.2 trillion.
I wasn't expecting it again.
That was crazy.
Oh my god!
All right, let's do the Sharice. Let's wrap it up.
Let's get this going.
All right.
All right, this is probably the toughest player in the match, Sharice match, and all that stuff for me. Because I don't think I actually have anyone defined properly. And so maybe what I'll do is I'm going to start with the more depressing one. And I'll say my player of the match. I'm going to go with Grimaldo. Just because it was, I don't know. I honestly am disappointed with this whole squad. I will say there were several times where Grimaldo got the ball up there and was getting the ball into the box, and there was no one getting that ball. He didn't have the one choose of players, but I felt there was some kind of push coming. It was still a god awful performance by Grimaldo. Like, I don't have any one player. I can say Misha Kingu
Think,
would be a
think
player.
off the bench, Mario. I think we're all going to pick the same one.
Yeah. If I go off the bench, fuck off the bench. That's about it.
Of course. Let's just get out the way right now.
I'm
Player of the
gonna say-
match is Neres
Yeah.
all the way
because
through.
he was the only one that showed anything.
He's the only one.
Yeah,
But
My
yeah,
Shadis,
yeah,
I'll tell you,
right.
my Shadis was it had to be one of those guys on the defensive line, either Gilberto, Maratu, or even Florentino looked real. I mean,
Or
he didn't do much. Or Odie. I mean, Odie was definitely my Shadis for the last match. We didn't have a show for that, but he was definitely my Shadis there. But this match, man, to me, the worst player. You know what? Actually, I'm wrong. It's Rafa.
Yeah,
Rafa
there we go.
was the
I was
worst
gonna say
fucking
that.
player.
That's
Rafa
what I
was
had
the
in my head
worst
for. I
player.
had Rafa as
There's
the
no
worst.
doubt about it. He chance after chance, he wasted. He cries now. Oh, is he just crying all the time? He always looks confused.
Mm.
And I just every time the camera's on him, he's like, "What the fuck is you?" He's like he doesn't know where he's at. I don't get it. He's definitely Solis.
Is actually Moratu, and I'll explain why. I've talked about it a little bit before. If you rewatch the game, right, and for anyone in the U.S., if you have Paramount Plus, if that's how you watch the game, it's an easy way to do it. If you noticed very early on, aside from him just being uncomfortable with the ball at his feet, it's the fact that he holds on to the ball too long. There were a couple times where, you know how the classic thing for pretty much any back line, right, is moving it across the back line to switch the field. There were a couple times where Benfica could have done that and actually had somewhat of a counter or break on whatever side of the field it was being switched to, right or left. And that didn't happen because Moratu held onto the ball. And if you watch, he dribbled way too much. And maybe he was to, show his composure and his confidence or pick the right pass or whatever. He needed to be quicker, right? And then defensively, thankfully, he drew a foul against Lukaku in the second half. But I think he wasn't properly positioned on that header that ended up happening. Because I think if he's properly positioned, Grimaldo's going to be back a little bit more, right? And then maybe covers the header. It's a tough play, but I think ultimately he was poorly positioned there. And that led to Grimaldo also being poorly positioned. And again, yeah, and I think that he just, to me, it should have been Verissimo. I think that Rafa was terrible today, don't get me wrong, but I think that Moratu also did things that were less noticeable than Rafa. Right? Rafa just didn't show up, which is bad. But I think that Moratu did the small things that you might not notice, but that affected the team.
I got them nervous, and it throws off how the other players play around them also.
I don't even have a play of the match. I mean, not even one.
My
play of the match? I do, actually.
I got a funny one, which is...
I have a nice one. Chiquinho made a nice stop at the midfield, turned around, got the ball out. The shit was beautiful. Did a fucking... He shook the shit out. I don't forget who it was, but...
The Odie save in the second half, the one where the guy was like the back post all
Odie, bro. I mean, not like literally, but I didn't mean it like that. But I don't want to fucking hear it. If you're gonna tell me about it, Joe, I'll tell you that right now. Fucking Odie, fucking ridiculous.
So my play of the match.
I'm just fucking with you, obviously.
I know, no. But that for me,
if anyone's interested, you bring up around the 70th minute. Neres gets the ball.
Oh yeah,
he's on the right side of the pitch.
Unreal.
Dribbles around three inter guys.
Yeah.
Dribbles all the way to the left side of the field. There's a little 1-2, gets the ball, dribbles around some more guys, and the ball gets in the box, and we don't get an opportunity. We almost got a header for a goal. It didn't happen, but it's just he owned one side of the field and owned so many players and kept owning them all the way around. Like he basically touched 7 to 8 of the Inter players and schooled them in one single play. And it was so I hope I think that's the one play at Chavs. He starts, he's fired up, Let him earn his spot, and we just got to figure out, is it Rafa that gets benched, Romario, or someone?
I'm with Richard, and that's kind of why I don't think you should have blocked those Inter Milan fans out. They're probably from like Connecticut, somewhere like that.
Oh no, it's more of like
some
a
square bears. I know they're all riling everybody up.
Yeah.
But how awesome would it have been to come back next week and blast their fucking names all over this show for, I don't know, an hour?
I would have invited them on the show.
I would have asked them. I'd have gave them the link. I'd have gave them the password so they can join us every week for the rest of their lives. They could just come in and just be with us and hang out.
And shot it.
Yeah.
But one of the things that pissed me off today, and look, I'm okay with any Benfica fan saying that
they're not Italian, so we'll have ketchup and spaghetti for them.
And break the pasta.
Now the one thing was that the Zebi comment, and they started going. I'm like, they're just trying to say shit.
Leave them. They're trying, of course. Let them, bro. It's a fucking Mario.
One of the things that I was going to say is, actually, I shouldn't have said Mario. I should have said Mello. Because did you watch on Paramount today on CBS, Mello?
Yeah, the way they said Vlachodimos, the name. I hate it.
That was one thing I hated.
That was hilarious. Actually, I don't know if it's the same commentator. Read the zone.
I can't even say
an English guy.
But I was going to say after the game, and this is why I don't think you have Mario, is we have the crew with Thierry Henry, Jamie Carragher.
No, I don't got those guys.
Oh, yeah.
Micah Richards was saying, was bragging about how he picked Inter to go through in their little bracket that they did. And he's like, yeah, it's over. So I'm praying. I am just praying. I mean, obviously, I want us to win for a variety of reasons. But
I just never knew who Micah Richards was until this show.
He was a secondary player on that City team, too. People are trying to hype him up now. I remember watching that City team, and he was nothing special at all. Like, Torre was special in the midfield. Yeah, Torre was special. You had Company in the back. Fernandinho. He got replaced by, all those guys ASAP. He was around, as City, on the cusp of when City started buying all these new players when they got bought by the oil sheiks. And then he lost the spot, pretty shortly after.
And then what?
And then he retired. I didn't even think he was an England player, really.
We can't get somebody else in the Galasso show? I know he's funny and all, but shit, get somebody else. This guy's a joke. You got him up there with Carragher and Thierry Henry.
The part that's wicked funny is they announce it and they're like, yeah, World Cup winner Thierry Henry, Champions League winner Jamie Carragher, and Micah Richards. Because he didn't win anything. He didn't win Prem trophies. He didn't win. Yeah.
He didn't win an FA Cup.
It's like when they do, 5 of England's best clubs and Spurs. When they did that little bit for the Super League, that shit for the rest of my life, I'll howl.
Jose just said it. We need to play a 4-3-3. I said that earlier too. That's just me. But
if Gedge is healthy.
You put Tino in the middle. You let Fred and João play there in the middle next to him. Create space. Gedge and Neres up top with Gonzalo. I don't know how this fails. I don't know how that fails.
Oh, what an injury, a red card, and tears everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
You never know, man. I'm gonna go and just enjoy it. I'm gonna go enjoy the match. I hope we give a good fight.
That'd be beautiful, guys. I can't wait. Nice. I can't wait to see you guys out there, man. It'll be awesome.
For all that, I'm excited because I do. Again, I feel that we're gonna win it. I'm just trying to think of, it might actually be against the Cloud of that last game of the season, which would be unreal, or maybe against Sporting or whatever happens. As long as we win the league. Here's the thing: we deserve to win the league, and when you deserve it,
I think we got it. It's just
that's why it's so frustrating, though. It's because sometimes when you win the league and you deserve it, but you weren't expecting it. In 2019, the FIFA Conquista year, that whole year, that felt special when we won it because it was we weren't supposed to win it, right? This year, we've been the best team all season. Since week 2, we've been in first place. We have never looked back. So it's kind of this is just the result of the whole season, right? Which technically is every championship, but it's not like we built up to this. It's it's just been flatlined. We were super pumped and we've been playing beautiful, but ultimately it's that's why I wanted more of the Champions League, right? Or a Tasa or anything, but we didn't get the Tasas, and now the Champions League is the only hope we have. If we made the semifinal of the Champions League, to me, that's just as good as the Tasa. And you could call me whatever, blah, blah, blah. People would, crucify me on Twitter for that. But, I mean, it could be worse. I could have
people on Twitter are stupid, dude. Who cares?
Yeah. Again, yeah.
That's how I feel. I'm on Twitter,
and you know what? And exactly, and Mello, and they're stupid if they don't think that that's an incredible achievement, right? Even what we do, if we push Inter to extra time, I mean, no, I'm not
Give
even
them a good
saying
fight.
We should
Give them a
be-
good fight. Give them a fair fight.
I'll eat lasagna. I'm gonna eat lasagna and ravioli. I'm gonna eat fucking. I'm gonna
Chef
have
Boyardee.
But Mario,
Chef Boyardee. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna have. I'm gonna have Chef Boyardee if we win this motherfucker.
The
I haven't
alphabet
eaten that
ones.
since-
The
I haven't
alphabets.
eaten that since I was 5, but I
Yeah.
will fucking go buy a can of that shit. All right,
The on-
we'll eat
the
that
only
shit. I will
thing-
eat it. Like
the
Luis
only
used to
thing-
eat the onions. I will eat fucking Chef Boyardee fucking ravioli. I will heat it up on the stove proper like. Okay.
You'll get the alphabet ones though, and you'll spell Kahega on your spoon, and you'll be like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I'd
will
spell
say-
something else in Italian, but yeah.
what I was going to say, Mario, is the one thing I want to see the next 2 weeks, and I assume we'll have a show after the champ. I mean, we'll have a show after the Champions League for sure. We'll see about this weekend, but I just want them to make us proud. As long as they put in
Yeah,
a proud
I want-
performance.
I want to get the
If they
excitement.
embarrass us, I'll be
I want to get
pissed.
the energy back.
Yeah,
And I hope, okay, so now this is me, like, hopeful dreams, because, maybe Port's got the Taça Portugal. The league is kind of done. Maybe they got an easier schedule now. They got Paço Ferreira, they got Boavista. Should be results they get. They slip up on a game, we wrap up the title in Braga. We win the rest of our
No,
games.
they
we
will
wrap up the
because they
title
don't
in Porto
play.
Alegre.
They don't play everybody like they play us. They do. They will slip up
Yeah.
because they
But
they
I hope
they might have blown their wad on fucking Friday. You know what I mean? They gave everything and they showed everything they had. Now all you got to do is just
No,
you know.
the thing they got left now is win the lock in second place and win the Taça. That's Porto's result, right? Lock in a Champions League spot and get a cup. And for us, we just gotta take each game by game, win, do well against Chaves, get a good result.
Chaves is next.
Put a
I agree.
good fight against Inter. Get that momentum, get that good feeling happening again. That we deserve this. We should be winning it. We worked hard this season. And it just builds up, and you go to Estoril and you kill them there, and then the momentum. Whether we're in the Champions League or not, the momentum keeps building in each game from Estoril, Gil Vicente to Braga to Portimonense. The hype builds, and everyone gets back in a positive feeling, and we're gonna build from here onward, right? And yeah, no, I think it's a, I don't want to call it done deal. It's never done until the title's lifted. That's the reality of it. Yeah. It also has been an atrocious from Rio Ave to Porto on this. Chaves is, I never thought Chaves would be such a critical game, but it is. From a psychological standpoint.
yeah, exactly. And it's, I mean, that game's way the hell up there. It's practically playing in La Liga, but yeah, I want them to do something, man. I'm really looking for. I just want the game. Honestly, I want this week. I want to fast forward a week or to tomorrow, right? And just watch the second Inter leg and just get it over with because it's looming over. It's going to be looming over me for the whole week.
All right, man. I think we're gonna call it a night. Nelson took
Yeah.
a nap. I need a nap. It's a work week.
Yeah, I gotta drive to the airport tomorrow.
We got an exciting time. So next match is Saturday against Chaves. I actually my birthday's on the Monday coming up, but I am gonna go
Marathon Monday, Boston Marathon Monday.
I love it. But for Saturday, I'm actually doing like a little get together with family, and I'm gonna go. The Canadian Premier League has their home opener, so I'm gonna go home opener. It looks like a big crowd coming out. My son's gotten really into sports. I'm very excited, so I'm gonna watch a match. It doesn't mean I won't see Benfica. I'm gonna see Benfica. So we're gonna have the lunch at my place, watch Benfica, and then after that, it's the game's at 1. I think the soccer match I'm gonna go to is at 4:00. In the evening, we can do a show if you guys are up for it. I don't know if time works out. If not,
I'm good.
yeah, you're good. Okay.
This Saturday I won't be able to do tonight. I could do Sunday night, but I can't do Saturday night.
Well, I'll figure
Oh
it out.
no, Saturday night. No, we could do. I can't do
I can
Saturday
do Sunday
night.
night. I can do Sunday night.
Alex,
I can do Sunday night.
You can do Sunday night. I can do
Sunday
Sunday night.
We can stay up till midnight and wish Mario happy birthday, sing him happy birthday.
Well, that'll be easy for fucking me. That's 9 o'clock.
9 p.m.
It's 9 p.m. over here. I'm like,
If Luis tunes on, he's wishing me happy morning. Good morning.
Oh God! All
Yeah,
right,
but I
y'all.
know a pint of Taliki with the white beard. I told Mohair. My God.
let's wrap this shit up, man. I'm gonna
All right.
go bury my head. I'm gonna go watch the Laker game. We're already down. So
All right. Good night,
I
guys.
can't handle two L's in one day.
Nah, it's too much. All right.
All
Peace.
right.
Too much.
See you guys.
Peace.
Take care.